Furious Ascent brings the excitement, challenge, and teamwork of mountain climbing to your game night. This cooperative game consists of 4 ascents, each more difficult than the last. Players must learn to work together and watch out for each other, as all will win or lose together. Let's find out more about the game itself, starting with what's in the box. The Furious Ascent game consists of 3 sets of cards. The camp cards, which are used to track your progress and describe the requirements of each ascent, are headed Camp 1 through Camp 4 and Summit. The game deck cards have white backs, and the event deck cards have blue backs. A game of Furious Ascent is made up of 4 separate ascents to the summit. Each ascent is shorter, but more difficult than the previous ascent. The camp cards will describe the requirements of each of these ascents. In essence, each ascent is achieved by playing rope cards in ascending order to the target number, 10 for the first ascent, 8 for the second, and so on. The rope cards you play in each ascent are increasingly restricted in terms of the colors you can choose. For example, in the first ascent you may play rope cards of any color, but in the 4th and final ascent, the rope cards you play must all be the same color, making the ascent much more difficult. The game deck is made up of 4 types of cards. Rope cards come in 4 different colors and are numbered from 1 to 10. As previously explained, these cards are used to make your ascents to each camp. The deck contains wild cards. Single-colored wild cards may be used as a substitute for any numbered rope card of the same color in an ascent. Multicolored wild cards may be substituted for any numbered rope card of any color. Treatment cards are used to remedy the effects of ailment cards any team member may accumulate during play. And prevention cards may be used to stop certain crisis events from occurring. The event deck consists of 2 types of cards that come into play whenever a player cannot make progress in the ascent during their turn. Ailment cards apply to the player that draws them and contain points of varying magnitude depending on the severity of the ailment. Players can accumulate these points to a limit that is determined by the number of players in the game. If any player exceeds the point limit at any time, that player is considered too injured to continue and the game is lost. During his or her turn, any player may choose to play a treatment card from their hand that corresponds to any ailment afflicting either the player or any teammate. The treatment card removes the corresponding ailment from play so that it no longer counts toward that player's total. Crisis cards affect the entire team when drawn. The effect of the crises vary. All result in losing all progress toward the current ascent, but some also require players to discard their current hands and redeal them as well. Some crises can be prevented if any teammate possesses the appropriate prevention card when the crisis card is drawn, and they may play it even if it is not their turn. For example, a rifle prevention card can nullify the effects of a Yeti attack crisis card. Now that we know the basics, let's see how the game is played. Here's the table for a typical 2-player game. Our teammate sits across from us and will be our dealer for this hand. We begin with the first camp card and the shuffled event deck face down. The dealer then shuffles the game deck and deals each player 5 cards face up. The dealer turns the next card face up to form a discard pile and places the remainder of the game deck face down as a draw pile. Before we begin, we can read the Camp 1 card for instructions on our first ascent. As we can see, for the first ascent we must play rope cards from 1 through 10 in any of the 4 colors. Now we are ready to take our first turn. We begin by drawing a card. We can take either the top card from the discard pile or the top card from the game deck draw pile. As we don't really need the 6, let's draw. We get a canteen card, which we may be able to use later as a remedy. We hold a 1 rope card in our hand, and we can see that our partner has a 2, so we are in good shape. We play the 1 rope card to the ascent area and end our turn. It is now our partner's turn. She draws a red 3 rope card, and then plays her red 2 rope card on top of the 1 we played. Remember, we can play any colors on the first ascent. Our partner then ends her turn. On this turn, we draw a blue 7 card, which doesn't really help us since we already have a 7 card. At this point, we could play our yellow wild card as a 3, but we can also see that our partner has a 3 to play. We must decide whether to take a chance on an event card at this point, or to play the wild card. After consulting with our partner, we decide to take our chances. First, we must discard to get our hand back down to 5 cards, so we discard the blue 7. Because we did not play a rope card on our turn, we must draw an event card, which turns out to be a hunger card. It gives us 20 points of damage. In a 2-player game, each player can accumulate 200 points in damage before being too injured to continue, so we are still in the clear health-wise. As our partner begins her turn, she draws a red 10 card. As we had decided, she then plays the 3 rope card. Before she ends her turn, however, she uses her rations treatment card to treat our hunger ailment. We can discard the hunger card by sliding it under the event deck pile, and we return to full health. After we draw a yellow 9 card, we survey our options. We note that we already possess a wild and a 5 rope card, and that our partner has a 6 at the ready. After a short discussion, we decide to go for it. We play our wild card as a 4, and then play our 5 card. Next, on her turn, our partner plays her 6, just as we had planned. Now we are missing only the 7 to reach Camp 2. Unfortunately, we draw a 1. This card will help us on the next ascent, but for now we have no play. We do not need to discard, as we have only 5 cards, but we must take our chances now on an event card. Bad news! We've drawn a crisis card and we're lost. This crisis card will cause us to lose all the progress we've made from Camp 1 and force us to start over. Fortunately, however, this crisis is preventable, and our partner holds the Sherpa prevention card we need. Our partner plays her Sherpa card and prevents the effect of getting lost. This crisis is averted. What luck! Our partner has drawn a wild card, which clears our way for the rest of the ascent. She plays the wild card as a 7, and now it's our turn. During our turn, we can put our team on the verge of success in this first ascent by playing our 8 and 9 cards. And now our partner can cap our first ascent. When we play the last card necessary for the ascent, we can fold up the rope cards we played and place them on top of the Camp 1 card. Then we place the Camp 2 card on top of that. Also, making the next camp affords us the time and supplies to heal, so if any team member has any ailment cards in play, we can discard them before we begin the next ascent. Finally, we can read the objectives from the new camp card and begin our second ascent. We begin our second ascent just like we did our first one. Now let's skip ahead to a later point in the game. We've made progress on our second ascent, but we've struggled a little too. We picked up a couple of ailments totaling 110 points, and our partner has one for 60 as well. Still, we finally managed to play a blue 3 rope card on our last turn, and now it's our partner's turn. She draws a rifle card, and she has a choice of which 4 to play, yellow or green. Keeping in mind that we can only play from among 3 colors on this ascent, we don't want her to proceed recklessly. Playing yellow here would mean that the red 6 we hold would be useless in this ascent, as would any other red cards we might draw. To keep our options open, our partner chooses to play her green 4 card, as we have already played green on this ascent. She'll save her yellow 4 for a future ascent. This kind of careful planning is an essential part of the strategy for success in Furious Ascent. On our turn, we draw a bandage treatment card. It's not the 5 we were hoping for, but at least we can treat some of our damage. Unfortunately, however, we must now draw an event card because we were unable to play a rope card this turn. This is bad luck for sure, as we've drawn a blizzard crisis card. This one is not preventable, so we will lose all of our progress on this ascent. Reluctantly, we gather up our rope cards and discard them, leaving our team back at Camp 2. We do not discard our acquired ailments in a crisis either, so now we'll have to start the ascent again with our ailments as is. Now, skipping ahead again to a point in the 4th ascent, our game has progressed and will last until any player accumulates enough ailment points to cross the damage threshold and become too injured to continue, forcing us to admit defeat. Or alternatively, until we persevere through our hardships and, at last, take our final steps to complete the fourth ascent and attain the summit, where we plant our flag to celebrate our victory. Furious Ascent is a fun and challenging team experience for the whole family. Its cooperative style makes it easy for inexperienced players to learn, while experienced players will find the varied challenges of balancing risks and rewards keep the game new and exciting. Do we have what it takes to stand at the top? The answer lies ahead. As Sir Edmund Hillary explained, it is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves.